Anything you'd really like to accomplish before you leave?
I really want to see this cell coverage better than it is in the North Country. I mean, it's just needs to be that way. It's almost normal for other places, and it isn't. And even it's not just the Adirondack Park. Washington County doesn't have good cell coverage either, and they're a lot more wide open without as many trees and mountains as we are. So that's very important to me, and just the sustainability of our businesses. You know, the invasive species has been something I've worked on since I was in the Assembly, getting money for these lakes that were putting forth an effort to make sure their lakes were still usable for recreational purposes. And there's an economic issue there too. Most lakefront properties bring in more tax dollars. So if they don't have the value of a recreational lake and all, that would be affected. So we've made a lot of headway on that. And I think the program on clean, drain, and dry boats, and you know, boaters want a boat on a nice lake that they can swim in and fish in and do all that too. So it's an educational program too that I think we have to promote.
And there is the new boat wash at the Exit 18
Right. Going to change the language a little bit. So somebody wants to know, why isn't there a car wash? And wait a second, you don't. I don't think you understand what we're doing here. So they are going to work on better signage this year.
But it seems to have been making a difference. Lake George and a number of the lakes in the Adirondacks still have been able to keep a lot of invasive species out.
Absolutely. And Lake George, I was on the Warren County Board of Supervisors when Wilbur Dow, who owns the steamboat company, is now deceased, his son runs it, but came in and thought that Lake George was going to be, you know, almost like a swamp because of the milfoil and the rapid speed that it grows at. And so fortunately that didn't happen. But they do have a mandatory clean boat going in, and they tag boats. And they said this past summer, there were fewer boats that had anything on them. Most of them came in cleaned, drained, and dry. So, and a lot of the boats actually went out to Tahoe. I have a son that had a place out there, so we went out and visited and saw what they were doing. And we went back again this past fall and met with the people from Nevada and California. And you don't always get rid of the invasive that you have in your lake, but you need to control it.
You still have a year to go, so there's still a lot of time. But as you look back over your distinguished career, nearly 20 years in the Senate, the Assembly before that, what memories are your fondest? What would you see as your greatest accomplishment through the years?
Oh, well, first of all, it's just been a wonderful job. I've loved every minute of it. I would say, I think my greatest accomplishment has been being accessible and constituent service. And that's not a lot of hoopla, but if it helps people and gets them through an issue and a problem, whether it's with DEC or with the health department or DMV or alcohol board and licensed, and I have a great staff, and we're like a family. That's really going to be hard. On the way up, I said to Sharon, we'll have to plan on doing one day a week of driving around, going on a long ride and having lunch someplace. So, yeah, it's difficult, but I know it's the right decision. So, but you know, I've really liked it. I think getting help for Trudeau was big. Getting the Plattsburgh higher ed location in Queensbury, New York, on the Adirondack Community College campus, and that almost went down. They had me come to a meeting with Warren and Washington County, and they were not in agreement, and we ended the meeting in agreement. So, you know, I've enjoyed being able to bring people together, and I think that's my background in raising 6 kids. So.
And a school teacher before that, you had a lot of practice.
Yeah, but, and you know, it doesn't always work, but sometimes trying to come to some kind of agreement. And the biggest disappointment, I guess, was I tried to get Essex, Franklin, County and Clinton County transportation all on the same page. And partway through the meeting, I said, well, I think this is not working, so we might as well just be no, we got to stay and try some more. So it helped a little bit, but not to the extent it should. You know, that you can't really get public transportation from Plattsburgh to Lake Placid, or Malone to Lake Placid, and Lake Placid is becoming harder and harder to get, you know, workers and workforce. So because of the housing, and the housing, the Adirondack Housing Community Housing Trust, that's still working. You know, for a while, people weren't buying up our homes as fast as now they are again, and it's becoming more of an issue, trying to keep houses at a level for the workers to stay in.